Hi. So this tutorial is going to just show you how to take care of holes that you might have. In a lot of cases, the scanning data that you're going to get is going to be missing some information. This is really one of Geomagic's strong points, being able to reconstruct geometry based on limited information. So what I'm going to do is, again, Control F to change the center of my rotation, so I can sort of rotate around the nose like that, and I'm going to select the very tip of it, and I'm going to delete that. So I'm missing information right now here. And how do we fill a hole? Well, in a case like this where it's pretty critical to the design of the whole object, I want to have as much control as I can. So I'm going to say fill single, and I click on that to start the command. And you'll notice at the top here we have a few different options. These are different settings. I'm going to start with flat, and what flat does is, as I put my cursor over the hole and then click, it will fill that hole with a flat fill, and it sort of takes the shortest approach in order to fill that area. So you can see it's not very kind or generous to our subject right now. To undo a fill, you can simply Control Z, and that will undo that last fill. We're still in the fill command right now. The next option is to use a tangent fill, and what that will do is it will create a fill that's tangent to the surrounding area. So it sort of looks at the faces that are surrounding that filled area, and it creates the new fill while maintaining tangency with those faces. So it's a much smoother approach to doing that. The third option is curvature. And what curvature does is it's the highest degree of smoothness, I guess you could say. And what it does is it actually changes the surrounding geometry as well as creating this filled area. So I'm going to undo it for a second. If you just pay attention to, again, maybe turning on the edges, if you pay attention to the area adjacent to that fill, you'll notice that it actually moves. So that happens when you're at the highest degree of filling, which is curvature. So again, as I fill this, it's going to actually change that area. Whether that's okay or not totally depends on what you're doing, but it's good to know that that's what's actually happening. When you're done with this, if you like what you have, you can hit Escape, and that'll take you out of the command, and it'll sort of retain what you've just done. There's a lot of holes in this model, and you can see them. They're all the naked edges anyway are highlighted in the bright green color, and you can see that there's a whole bunch of them. We don't want to sit there and have to go through each one of these manually. So the command that you'd want to use to fill all those is fill all. And if I start that up by clicking on it, you'll notice now that I'm in a dialog here, and it currently says deselect largest one. And so what that means is it's sensing the largest hole is this outer edge, which really isn't a hole based on what I want to do with this anyway. I don't want it to fill the back area because there's not really enough information in there anyway. I want to fill everything else that's smaller than that. And if I were to increase this number, you would notice that some of these larger holes would also start losing selection. So if I were to say deselect the largest 4, whatever I run at this point won't affect those largest 4 holes. So that's hopefully pretty straightforward. You'll notice that our options for curvature, tangency, our hole filling options up here are still valid. So if I were to select flat, for instance, and maybe go over to this area here, oops, and look at the result when I click on apply, You'll notice that that fill is quite flat. I'm going to undo that, Control Z, and maybe select tangency instead and hit apply. And you can start to see that that respects the surrounding area a little bit better. I might even go to my curvature and hit apply again, and now it really starts to get smooth. And that has basically taken care of all the smaller holes that we had before. I think it actually shows you right here selected holes 117. So when you apply, now it says selected holes 0. Okay. So if I click OK at this point, it accepts that, and I've filled all those holes. Thanks.